Here for digital nomads?
I think so.
Yeah, come on in.
You are now.
Yeah, that's right. Alright, so I just want to know who here knows this website, because this website has been around since forever almost. And this site is called This Is Why I'm Broke. Okay. This is why I'm broke, okay? And I mention this is because this is one of the most popular affiliate sites out there. And if you know affiliate marketing, you understand that everything you're looking at is literally just a link. There are no actual physical products in this site. It's all just links to get stuff. So I'm gonna kind of slowly go through to see what the site is about. And then I will explain to you the story behind it. So if you need a cheese printer, there it is, okay? And then if you need a mini archery bow set or a stained glass mushroom lamp, it's right there for you, okay? And everything I want to do is illegal. It's right there in that little nice book. So this Ring Always Home Flying Camera, I think this is really cool. And for $250 you can have one. So if there's a sound or emotion that happens in your house, this little camera will fly up and go towards it and record it, you know? And so what this guy did was, he's like, wouldn't it be just really cool to build a website that has the coolest stuff on Amazon, just basically put into one website? And he went in and did that. And he started to realize man, this is a lot of work. I can't do this. So then eventually he started to hire people to do that for him. And then they would just go in and just update the stuff. So he built a system in place to do all that stuff. So when somebody comes in and purchases this, he gets a commission off of that, you know. So, and if we keep going through, further, you start to see all these really cool things that are basically just all over Amazon that people are selling for. And they get updated constantly all the time. And so I believe the story goes where within a year or so, he had already made $1 million doing this. And so because this happened, what do you think happened to so many other people when they saw this website? They wanted to do the same thing. Okay? So then you get copycats. Okay? So they're just like, hey, he's doing it, I want to do it. I want in on that game. Alright, so what happened? Dude, I want that. And this became another affiliate marketing site in just a flashy way. And it just turned into this website for all these geeked out gifts. And again, this is all affiliate marketing. There are no products on this site whatsoever. Anything you click on, anything you see, basically they're just gonna get a commission off of that. So, and then that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to share those things because it just shocks me that these sites have been around for more than 10 years now. And I mentioned it just what is that? Because some people want to get into affiliate marketing, and these are the starting points from where that all came from. So, but yeah. So this one is gonna be basically this presentation on finding work. For gig workers, So this month's presentation, did it go through? Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. And I kind of want to go over this stuff because a lot of people don't necessarily want to build their own companies. They kind of just want to find work, and they just want to make a living. Other people, on the other hand, just want to build companies and then just travel. So our agenda for today is we're going to go over the yearly calendar to show you what the topics are. We're going to cover recent news that happened basically this morning or last night, if you heard about it. And then a little facts, and then the most searched place that people all over keep searching for. And it shouldn't come as a surprise if you're a digital nomad where that city should be. Okay? So before I get to that slide, I'm going to ask you before I get to it, what do you think the city is? So, well, you already did the intro back in October, so this one is going to be making money while traveling. And then December will basically be based on like building your own companies, those who want to work for themselves. And then January will be like travel logistics and visas. I'm gonna bring in some people from like consulates to talk about like their work visa programs, how you can understand that, dealing with like travel logistics, if you want to get into that issue, so that way you can understand like visas and your taxes and things like that are what messes up a lot of people. So I'm gonna let you read this real quick because this just happened. And it does affect this type of work. Yeah. So all this just happened basically like in a span of like less than 24 hours. And so as soon as the news, like the news that we get is public, but when stuff like this happens, there is a team of people that always get it beforehand. And so basically within like 5 minutes before his firing, this bidding war started to happen. They're just like Google was notified, Oracle, like all these big companies were bidding to get this guy who's like now the most famous CEO in the world. And I can't imagine the amount of money they threw at this man. So if I was to say like he probably was offered $100 million salary starting, I probably wouldn't even be close to that, you know. So, but the thing is, Microsoft and OpenAI already had a partnership, so him going over there just made sense because he could have all the resources he wanted, and he's going to be a CEO of their new research division. And because of that, it just changes so much stuff because now it's just like, what is going to happen to OpenAI? Because that's where everything is based off of right now. Like if you look at every single API that's built right now, it all basically connects over to OpenAI. So I'll be very interested to see like what's going to happen in the next week or two. So did anybody watch the developer conference that happened on Thursday that came out of that? Yes. What did you notice?
The custom GPT builders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And did he talk about the store?
Yeah, right?
Right. Yeah. And what can you do in the store?
You can sell your own GPTs.
Yes.
And create them, and yeah, it's like the App Store, but for AI.
That's right. So did everybody get that? You can now build your own custom ChatGPT bots and sell them. And if you look at the pricing already, many of them are already going for like 500, 600, probably over 1,000. The more instructions you give these bots, the more valuable they're going to become. And at that point, you're looking at this and you're going like, okay, well, if I can program it and I no longer have to worry about prompts, that means I can replace a legion of people now. And that's the part people need to be worried about. Because it's just like, if I can take, let's say I build an AI chatbot for real estate investing, and I know that if I get an offer, and I type as like, I was given this offer, how do I counter? And it already has all the instructions listed inside of it, how to counter with all the greatest minds of real estate investors that existed. How much power does that have now? You see? So imagine with a finance chatbot, you know, cooking, Instagram, things like that. So that just happened Thursday. And now it's just like, okay, this just happened. What is Microsoft going to do? You know. So I mention all this stuff because as digital nomads, your job is to run as lean as possible without a lot of like gluttony in your company. You don't want fat in your company when you're trying to keep the bills low. So when you have AI chatbots that you can basically build on your own, customize them to do all kinds of things for you, ask it a simple question, that changes everything in how we work. You know, so I wanted to share that. You know, so does anybody have comments, concerns, questions? You know, because finding clients will become a lot easier now. So, all right.
Well,
So,
Microsoft would probably buy OpenAI.
well, they already gave them $10 billion. That was a partnership.
Right.
You know.
They would just, well, most likely just swallow them up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that'll be.
Doesn't Microsoft already own Like, did they give them 50% of their money, or they own 50% of their business?
Well, they gave them 10 billion in partnership funding.
That's a small part of what it's worth, but they'll
Yeah.
just probably just write the check eventually. But,
No, absolutely, yeah.
I can't see it survive now with 500 people quitting.
No, absolutely, yeah.
The
And
best minds in the business.
yes, and even the top AI researcher at OpenAI already threatened to quit if the board that fired Sam doesn't resign. So it's a lot of problems in Silicon Valley. So
So it is the leader in the space, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna disappear.
Oh,
It'll
no.
just be different owners.
yeah, absolutely,
You know?
yeah, yeah,
That's most likely what's gonna happen. I don't know.
right, yeah.
If I had to guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I wanted to mention this stuff, because like a lot of the work that we're gonna be doing now all relies on AI tools, you know, and since they're sort of the leader in this game, it's just crazy that, you know, in a span of less than 24 hours, this just happened, you know, so. And now the board is like, what did we do? I'm like, really?
You
So-
resign.
And what I didn't understand actually, sorry, but like, even one of the board of directors who voted to fire this guy was just like, why did we do that? I'm like,
They did this on Friday, they tried to take it back by Monday, did I catch that correctly?
it's just like, no, it's too late to apologize.
What was there?
And he was already hired.
What was their reasoning?
Yeah.
They were saying that Sam Altman was not being really honest with them about what was going on. Like in the public face, he would be like very cautious about like OpenAI, we need to be careful. He would, when he talked to the Senate, he was just like, we need to put restrictions, things like that. But behind closed doors, he was like, we need to go full throttle on this stuff and sell as much as we can. And whatever products we're creating, we need to put in the public immediately. And many of these people are just like, that's dangerous. You know, why? You know, and he's like, we need to make money. So it was just like this opposite.
Doesn't Microsoft have a history of being a little bit more conservative with their AI development, or was that Google?
Well, Google was, that's why Google lost the AI war. Because for years you would always be like, Google was hiring the best, they had like DeepMind, all these things, and you would think like Google would be ahead, but all of a sudden OpenAI just appears out of nowhere suddenly, even though it's been around for a long time, and just blew them out of the water. You know, so that's why Google was just like, what the hell just happened? You know, so yeah. But that was something I just wanted to mention, because again, our jobs will basically be run by a lot of AI tools, because I doubt anybody's going to say like, I'm gonna hire somebody for $200,000 to do this, when I can buy a chatbot for $600 that can work forever. Sorry to step on anybody's feet on that, but it is the truth, you know, that's just how we're sort of going. But on that note, I just wanted to provide a little like, does anybody know who this guy is based on the image? Okay, so this guy was one of the first big travel YouTubers that came about. So this was probably like, you know, 2007, 2006, when like YouTube was like coming around, and he was just like, I'm gonna go travel, take a camera with me, and like see what I can do with this. And all of a sudden, like, he just went out and had a lot of fun. Oh no, don't tell me this sound is not working. Hold on real quick, let me make sure. Oh, because I know last time I wasn't able to get sound. Okay, so let me make sure. Okay.
My name's Louis Cole. I make daily videos of my life and global adventures. I'm currently in the Mayan ruins of Tulum, and this has been my year so far.
What does adventure mean to me? Leaving a predictable routine, pointing the sail to the wind on a voyage to the unknown.
Spending 2 days on this ride.
Plunging into a world beneath the waves, creating the best stories and flooding the world with memories. A wanderlust quest, discovering the hidden gems and searching for magic. Because going on an adventure is no longer fantasy. Taking a leap of faith that just maybe your life will change forever. Not losing momentum, not letting feet touch the ground.
I finally arrived in Nairobi, Kenya.
Learning about real joy from people who have nothing. Not being a tourist, but a nomad, an explorer, a global citizen, floating above the rest of the world and beholding the beauty of its natural wonders.
We've kind of got the van stuck in the sand. Come and check this out.
What does adventure mean to me? Knowing your glass is half full, cherishing the friendships,
We're off to Stonehenge because it's summer solstice tomorrow morning.
and taking every opportunity to celebrate life. Finding belonging in a wider community and family. Journeying together, encouraging each other, and marvelling at the relics of once great empires. Knowing this is a journey, not a destination. This isn't about escaping life, but about not letting life escape you. Jumping in feet first, trekking to unspoiled, uncharted lands, off the beaten track, facing fears and embracing Mother Nature. Experiencing the full spectrum of life, from the beating heart of our modern world. The city rush and race, to a tranquil paradise, and mysterious ancient civilizations, and the things that lie beneath the surface. Visiting cities that straddle continents, and standing at the gateway to the city of dreams.
These caves were made 1400 years ago and they're carved out of the solid rock.
What does adventure mean to me? Letting your light shine to liberate those around you, and being inspired by the storytellers and people who share your passions.
There you go. Wait now.
Being enriched by that which has shaped our world, seeing beauty from the smallest creatures to some of the titans of the natural world.
This tree right here is the largest tree on Earth.
Visiting enchanted kingdoms and experiencing fascinating cultures, making unexpected friends,
Right, food shoot studio. How's it going, Jamie?
learning new skills, teaching new skills, and holding close those who need the most.
Got the big cow here.
Soaring above the clouds, venturing into the wilderness, learning the rhythms of life, and riding the waves. From the depths of the ocean to the mountain peaks. This is the chronicle of my year, but only one chapter in a lifetime of adventures. Now it's time to look away from the screen and imagine, how will you live your adventure?
So just a little motivation on that. So somebody from the last session, they actually took the advice and I said, hey, go travel. And so he booked a ticket to the Bahamas like a week later. You know, I said, now you need to build a company when you do that. so here's some stats to read about on solo entrepreneurship. I just want to throw out there. And if there's anything here that like catches your eye, like speak up, like say something, or if you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Or you're kind of surprised by.
Do we know where most of the people are in Brazil? Or is that Brazil as a country as a whole? Because Brazil is, I've been to Brazil.
It's massive. It's
Huge.
massive. Yes, I know. Sao Paulo is
Gigantic.
like 6 million people, almost 9 million, something like that. Yeah, it's a lot. And so I think Brazil, as a general, it just went as a general like country. It's one of the leaders. In fact, I do a lot of like Zoom events in New York and LA, and I meet a lot of people from around the world on there. One lady that I met is based in Brazil. And her company basically just helps people, entrepreneurs in Brazil, help these entrepreneurs build companies in the US. And I said, what is it about the US that these people are coming to you with and wanting to build companies there? Why are they wanting to base them out of the US? When you have so many people in the US who are just like, I want to go do stuff in other countries. And I said, what's the most popular thing? It's like, obviously Shopify stores, digital products, things like that. I was like, okay, same as us, nothing special, you know? And they're just like, we just want the allure to say like, we're an American-based company. And I'm like, wow, okay. So she basically has all the forms already set up and works that process with them. So I think it's kind of a neat deal, you know, but I didn't realize there was such a huge influx of them. You know, so I said, you know, how busy are you? And she's like, you know, we get about 20, 30 people a day wanting to set up companies in the US. I'm like, okay. Do they know their success rate? You know, so yeah.
What's her business?
So she helps entrepreneurs set up basically like C Corps or like, you know, solopreneurships, things like that. And Are you here for Digital Nomad?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Come on in. You found it.
Actually from Brazil.
Oh.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we were just talking about a lady that I just met from Brazil who helps people there want to set up companies in the U.S.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So what part of Brazil?
There's some hollow.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Nice. Yeah. So that's sort of like her whole business, and I asked her how she got started. Like, what was the interest, and she's like, I worked out of a co-working space, and I just started meeting a lot of people who were like, how do I get a business set up in the U.S.? What do I need to do? And she eventually just found the paperwork, you know.
She's not an attorney?
She's not an attorney now, yeah. So I'm sure there's way more stuff that gets involved, but yeah.
Why the US over Brazil? Is there like tax breaks or something?
I think from what she told me, it's just the prestige of saying I have a U.S. company. And to us, we're just like, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm missing something in the translation.
It's like, if I want to sound amazing, I'll just say I have a company in Portugal. You know, it's like, oh, you're international. You know? So, but Madagascar, I think for me was a surprise because I didn't realize like that was something that would be second on the list. But apparently, there's just a really high population there of people who want to work for themselves. But again, a lot of what I talk about and do is just like keeping as a solopreneur and keeping things very lean when you run your businesses. Because I meet so many times people are just like, well, I have like 10 people working for me. I'm like, every day, like 40 hours a week. And it's like, well, sometimes if I have work for them, what do you mean? You know? And to me, that's like just like, you need to cut the fat. You need to trim what you're doing. You know, so. All right, so right here. Sorry, I was supposed to ask you first. I hope you did not see it. What is the most searched place that people want to move to? Okay, there it is. Never mind, I missed it. There it is.
This is on like Google or like what's the?
So this was from, where did I put, I thought I had put the credit down there below. So basically there was this article that came out that showed the most, I think it's Fin Capitalist or Visual Capitalist, and they had posted like the most places that people keep searching for. So out of the entire world, 60 countries around the world are all searching for Dubai as where they want to go. You know,
Tax advantages, right?
it's the tax advantages, but the thing about Dubai though is it's even though there's no taxes, there's a lot of fees all over, and you have to be very careful. You know, so from all the people that I follow in Dubai, it's crazy how when you go to Dubai, a certain portion just looks American. Like everywhere you go, like there's just so many Americans everywhere, and you're almost like, am I in America? Like, how did this happen? You know, and it's just wild. It's just crazy. You know, but yeah, that's a place that a lot of people want to go to because that's like the rich person's playground. You know, so.
And even from like policy, like you go to, and if you have like, well, for startups in particular, like Dubai has, like UAE, it doesn't have the restrictions that we have with FAA, for example, if you're doing like drone type of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Here things will take ages, where Dubai is more experimental in that case, where it starts.
Right.
A lot of incubators have it.
Yeah. So I will tell you I think about like 6 years ago, I was about to launch like a youth entrepreneurship program, and I was going to reach out to students in Dubai. And then I found out they had all these youth entrepreneurship programs there, and I said, what if I did a connection just like introducing those kids to American entrepreneurship like programs here and bridge that gap? Because I'm curious to see what they're learning versus like what students here are learning, and how they understand like building a company there. So it didn't pan out, but it doesn't mean it's gonna go away, because like Dubai is a place that just constantly keeps coming up in conversations with people of like, I want to go to Dubai, I want to get residency. I'm like, I would visit first. Because it looks cool, but you need to understand they have very strict laws about stuff, and you don't want to get in that situation. So, but yeah. All right, so who wants a little infinite money glitch? And I want you to see if you can like find the loophole. Okay, so here it is. you already doubted me. You look like you're doubting me.
No, I've
okay.
done this before. I mean,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I have VAs in the Philippines.
Yeah. Who has VAs already, by the way? Who has VAs? Okay, cool. Where are they from?
Well, I have Turkey, Congo, India, and South Africa.
Oh, nice. Have you had any like from certain countries that you didn't have a good experience with?
Turkey, they did not want to deal with me as a woman, so.
Oh, wow.
they're mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting to know. Okay. I think my first VA I hired was from Norway for $2 and an hour, and she had all these like amazing tech skills, and she did that because she was trying to be a VA for the first time, and that's why she was trying to market herself so well. And for a lot of people, they're just like, that's really low. But for her, she was just like, I'm trying to be competitive, you know, and trying to get the skill experience, you know. So, but yeah, this is something that a lot of people that I've seen do. You know, there's a lot of YouTube videos that talk about this method, where you can basically just go in and create like a passive income stream of just doing this, and you just automate it. You know, you just have like a couple of VAs go in and they're just constantly scanning for jobs that are just super easy to pick up and do, and then they're pushed off to other people that's what they do, those kinds of work. So if somebody needs like a template for, let's say a website created or an app created or something like that, that gets pushed to them, they do the job, who gets the paycheck? You know?
Which platforms do you recommend?
So I always go with Upworks, even though Upworks has changed their pricing strategy, all those things. Fiverr is nice. The only problem with Fiverr is like it doesn't allow you to structure teams. Upworks does. And that's what I love about Upworks, is you can go in and literally create a team of people. You're gonna say something?
No, just a question.
Yeah.
How do you build a portfolio if you always outsourcing your jobs? How do you create a portfolio to get the job in the first place? If you were like an Upwork in Fiverr or Upwork.
So you would just like to build out your team, you can create like one structure of just like one VA first, and then all they're doing is scanning for jobs in all these boards all around the world. And they're just looking for that stuff. And as soon as they find a really quick job that they can get, then they'll either apply for it, and if they get it, they'll send it to the person who can do it. So then they can either have the power to hire that person on Upworks or Fiverr, which Upworks allows you to do. Fiverr doesn't really do that.
But usually for you to have the job, you have to have a portfolio to show to your potential clients.
Sometimes because sometimes jobs are as simple as just like, I need all these things put in my Google Calendar.
Okay.
So do you need a portfolio for that? Yeah.
Yes,
See?
sir, yeah.
And then other times it's just like data entry stuff. I'm like, I have all this stuff right here. I took a picture of. Can you put it into Excel and make it look nice?
Okay.
You know. So those are simple jobs that you can just pick up real quick, and that's all these VAs are doing, is just looking for simple stuff. And they're just taking that job, applying for it. If they get it, then they push it to somebody else, and then that's it. You know. So then you're creating this passive income stream for yourself if you set up this model. You know.
Can I respond?
Yeah.
Are you asking how you get into it, like initially?
Yeah.
Okay, so do a bunch of free work for some of your friends, and you know, just a couple of little jobs, and then just take lots of screenshots, put them on PDF, put those on Fiverr, then go to Upwork, you know, start that way.
Yeah.
Depends what your skills are,
Mm.
you know. And if your skills are valuable, then you can do it not for free, but at lower pay to get into.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, so that's one of those things about, you know, being a digital nomad, is you want to create as many passive income streams as you can, you know, so. That's one of them. So here's one of these like simple models right here that I kind of put together. So if you look at this right here, manage your remote team, this is sort of the rinse and repeat method that we just kind of went over. So if you look at it, it's just like, okay, you have that, you found your 3 VAs, okay, and then you push it out to role specific people that can do those jobs. And then you can hire a project manager to basically sort of like overlook that, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, so it's just sort of rinse and repeat. They're just going and doing this all day long throughout the week. So again, general purpose, these VAs like are not meant to do the jobs. They're just meant to find the jobs, apply for them. If they get the yes, they push it out. That's it. So, any questions about this or anything like that? Who here has done this already? Okay, yeah. exactly. Any problems that you ran into while you were setting this up, or things you'd like to comment on?
Yeah, so that's how I started my agency, and it's basically the main problem I ran into was the time difference.
Yeah.
Because my VAs are in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a beautiful thing, but it also is a challenge. So for example, I would send an email in the evening, and then I would wake up and the work was done.
Yeah.
That's the nice part.
Yeah.
You know.
Uh-huh.
But then if they run into problems
Yeah.
throughout the night or their daytime,
Mm-hmm.
they can't reach me because I'm asleep. And sometimes they get shy about it.
Right.
And the work stops.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm moving to Asia, because I can then be on the same time zones as the VAs.
Okay.
So they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
directly text me,
Uh-huh.
and I can either, you know, if I need to talk to anyone here or in Europe, I can do it at night.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when like navigating this between different countries with sort of different economic standings, you know, how are you monitoring, I don't know, just the quality of life with, you know, making sure that there's actual like, equity in your payment, I suppose, of these services, and
Mhm.
you know, that you're not contributing to anything excessively exploitive, or
So-
It's like, for example, you can pay a VA in the Philippines, you know, full-time VA, $250 a week, and they're super happy. They're
Yeah.
taking care of their entire family. You know, I mean, you have to still make sure that the work gets done, and that, you know, if there's issues that they actually gonna tell you. But that's it's a lot of money for them.
yeah, I was just in the Philippines, and
Okay.
so I was aware,
Yeah.
it is a pretty big difference in
Yeah.
pay for us and pay for them, but I just wonder, you know, with respect to navigating this.
So that was a conversation I've had with a lot of people, and they, as Americans, we sort of feel like I should be paying them more. And one of the things that I had to remember was just like you throw off their forms of economy. Because if you try to apply American standards of payment to them, it throws off their way of living.
Mm.
And that's the thing you have to remember. It's like, you know, you feel like I should give them a bonus, just $50. And because you need to keep it through these platforms, it keeps that checks and balances in place. Because you pay them in bonus, they're still gonna get the website's still gonna get their cut, you know? As soon as you take it off the website, you can run into all kinds of problems.
Mm.
And that's the thing that I recommend people don't do, because sometimes they're just like, yeah, but then you don't have to pay the fees. I'm like, yeah, but what if you find that one VA who that's the reason why they're doing this, is to get you off the platform and get you caught up into a scam, you know?
So you're saying
So,
maintain
what the rate is.
through
you know,
Fiverr and
through
Upwork.
Fiverr or like Upworks, all that stuff. Because you're gonna run into the situation where you're just like, man, they really did amazing work here in the US. That's like $6-figure job right there, and I'm paying them like pennies on the dollar, and you feel this sense of like I should be doing more, but don't, because it's gonna throw everything off, you know. Because all of a sudden you have no idea what you're gonna like get out of the woodworks from that, because somebody might email you and you're like, who's this? They're like, hey, I heard you have jobs, and it's like, okay. You know,
I think you have to remember it's not just about the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's also about the people and making sure that you know about their culture and that you respect their vacation days and things like that. Their cultural days that they're not usually working.
Yep.
You should not expect them to work. You know, things like that. Like really getting to know them, asking about their family, you know, maybe even visiting their and getting to know who's making you your money, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that's a lot of people forget about that.
Right. And that is important, you know, because like there are a lot of agencies in the Philippines and India who basically like run like these virtual assistant academies, and they can get certified and they get trained and they go through these like intensive programs. just to be able to get onto Upwork and apply for jobs, you know, and I forget that sometimes because like here in the US you're just like, you know, why would you do that? You know, because we're all sort of like brainwashed, really like you should have gone to college, get a degree, do this stuff, get a job, you know, all that stuff, you know, so yeah. So here's another one that I also came up with. So this one is lead generation. So if you're just trying to generate leads in your company, this is another way you can sort of like structure your VAs if you want. So you can just get like general like lead generators, and then from there you can find sales agents below them. So then they will take like what they need to do to follow up, keep the customer interested, find out what's happening, and then basically they all push it to one VA at the end that closes the deal. And it makes it happen, you know. It can either be one VA or it can just all get pushed back to you and you close the deal. You know, but this is a way to like, instead of calling people all day long, emailing people, things like that, you can just automate the system to where they're just like reaching out to like thousands of people a day, and whatever hits they get back, then there's a follow-up with that. You know, because do you want to spend your time emailing people all day long? Do you want to be doing that when you can pay somebody $4 an hour to do that for you? You know, because you want to basically automate as many things as you can with what you're trying to do. You know, so this is why stuff like this helps. So here's another model. So this one right here is like if you already wrote a book, if you're a speaker, if you're trying to go on tour, or if you want to do like speaking gigs, this is a very simple model. Basically, you just have two VAs that just reach out to a ton of places, and they just find out, hey, do you have space for me to come speak? Do you have space for me to come do this? And that's all they're doing all day long. And if they get a yes, it gets pushed to another VA that basically just does all the scheduling, managing, booking, and they handle that. So then you just get an email saying, hey, here's your next speaking engagement. You're done. You know. So if you do like event planning, mastermind groups, consulting talks, book tours, you know, you can do those kinds of things. And then that's a different way of setting it up. You know, so any questions on that? You know, anybody done this kind of like modeling on that? No? So yeah. So again, it's all dependent on like how do you want to like sort of set up these models. And the nice thing is in Upworks, it allows you to do this. You can set up your team and then just automate the entire process. You know, Fiverr does not do that. Fiverr, you have to do that all yourself. So you would just have to find somebody else to manage that team. You know, so if we go back and we look here, when you look over all this, that's why you put a project manager in place. So that way, if you have a time difference, then that person's on their time zone and they're checking the work. You know, so that's why it's like sometimes hiring a project manager over that helps sort of like alleviate any like bottlenecks. You know, so. So these are the top industries that have been known for like remote work. And some of them should be obviously very, you know, well known, and others are starting to come into play more. You know, I put in AI because, you know, AI is going to be changing a lot of things, you know, so. I do have some book recommendations later on to read because I just finished reading The Coming Wave, and when I read that, there's actually a talk tomorrow by Austin Technology Forum on that, and after reading that book, I don't think most people are ready for what's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years, because it's so crazy, like what the tools are that are out there, you know. So I'm looking forward to the talk, but yeah. So as you can see, I put at the very bottom right there AI chatbot creations, because you're gonna have a lot of people like creating these things and then just selling them like crazy. Because the other thing that Sam Altman talked about on stage was it's gonna be a leadership board. So it's basically just a way to like, get to the top. So you're gonna see all these people like building these chatbots and doing as much as they can, building teams, and be like, how much can we just load this thing up with to get to the top of that leaderboard? You know, because once you're at the top of the leaderboard, you're just making mounds of money. You know, so and Sam Altman knows this because he's about profit, and he's like, whatever we can do to make profit. If we can turn it into a game, let's turn it into a game. You know, so remote sites by industry. So we're going to go through a couple of sites. I'm going to throw a lot of information at you. That way you can like sort of write them down if you want to get into these things. And you can use the models that I showed you before, and you can automate this stuff. So the first one we're going to do is like remote work for accounting. And these are a ton of sites I just listed that they're all remote. It's all remote stuff for accounting, finance, things like that. And I put on the site like tips for success, basically just build like an accounting team. You know, you're gonna find a general VA that's gonna look for these jobs. And then you can go and just start to have like a second VA, and that delegates to the team of accountants, and they can push out the work. You know, how many times I've met people who are accountants and tax advisors, and their job is literally just to review contracts, and they travel the world doing that. And I'm like, that's pretty easy, because you're just reviewing contracts. Like, does it work, does it not work, are there loopholes, things like that, you know, so. If you wanna take a picture, things like that, but if accounting and finance is not your field, then you don't have to take a picture. So, but yeah. So the next one right here, affiliate job stuff. I just mentioned these because these are really popular. I did find Temu and Shin because now that they are like the big boys in the industry now, they have some pretty robust affiliate marketing things. So again, like if you want to do affiliate marketing, who here does like the Pinterest boards? Like, have you all ever seen that stuff?
Pinterest?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry if I said it wrong. It's one of those things where like you can literally just set up a board and just have all these like nice images, and then they all just link to affiliate stuff. And it's crazy how much people make money just doing that, you know? So if you're like a wedding planner, hire a VA to put your board together and then just promote it in what you do. You know, it's like, hey, I do this, here's my board, go check it out. And if somebody buys it, you get money. I'm just saying that sounds pretty easy, you know? Don't sit there and like have to go through all these things, and you can hire somebody for $3 an hour who can do it for you.
You still have to run ads to it.
Yeah, you can run ads, you know, but if you go out and promote it yourself and have it as a side thing, you know, that helps as well, you know, but yes, ads and all that stuff. But the only thing I've learned about that one social media site is like shadow banning. I don't know why they do that, you know, for their people, but they're just like, if you get too much traction or something goes wrong, all of a sudden your account gets shadow banned. You know?
Yeah, so that's why it's better not to do affiliate marketing on social media, because eventually you'll get taken down, and then you'll have to start all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's better to have funnels that you can take people to, and then you own their information, their data.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
You basically you get the email or the phone number, and then you start email marketing.
Right, yeah, yeah. So the other one right here is blogging and writing, and before you say like this will all be like eliminated, you know, it's still a need. You know, there are still companies that need you to write content. You know, they don't necessarily want to eliminate it just yet, but the more people I talk to, it is like ChatGPT is on my phone, it's on my laptop, it's everywhere. Like it's how I write things now. I do my emails in this, and this afternoon I was listening to a bunch of people talking about like we have it on our laptops. It's always there. And I'm like, okay, wow, you know, and of course it's not surprising. Yes, it's an amazing tool, you know, but it just shows you like how much it's embedded in itself into our lives already. You know, so blogging and writing, when I was putting this together, was just like, how much of this is going to get eliminated? You know, because like I would go to these job boards and I look at this stuff and I'm just like, I've met people who built companies to where when you go to their site, the AI tool that they built into it customizes the website to your interests based on the cookies that you've collected over the internet. So the website that you see is not the same thing that I would see. And it's built the second you go to the site. That's impressive, you know. So in a couple of years, your websites are not going to be what you built. It's going to be based on what the AI knows you want. You know, so just saying. So coaching and consulting, there are no links for that stuff, but I did want to mention some people on the side right here if you don't know who these people are. But again, this is something you can easily build out yourself, because you can build out websites, you can build out your social media channels, you can do all these kinds of things, and it will grow on its own. And if you use the models that I showed you before, with like hiring VAs to do promotions and things like that, you can easily gain traction. You know. So I'm just curious, does anybody know the people that I mentioned? You, okay. Which one?
Alex Eubank, he's the fitness guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
and I've watched his system of how he does stuff. And I'm always curious to know, like, if he loses that image, well, what is his business now? You know? Because he's already messed up his shoulder.
Yeah, he's taking peptides for it right now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm just like, dang, this guy's got like, but he has like that perfect physique. But the thing I've also learned is like, he runs a Discord thing. He runs like the gaming stuff. He does like the clothing line, all these things. So he knows his business stuff, but at the same time, he has a good management team behind him that supports him. You know, so if you can get to that level and you have like an agency that works with you, like your job is going to be made a lot easier. Or you can just hire your own agency. You know, so. So this one right here, I kept it short just because like there's so many out there, but of course dice.com is such like the really big one. It's always been there, and I think it's like almost 30 years old now. But yeah, you can find a lot of those kinds of jobs at Hacker Noon. They have a lot of job postings for there that are just all remote work. And obviously Ruby on the Rails has been around. But I will have to say this, because of the new ChatGPT vision thing that has come out, coding, I don't see where it's going to be in 5 years, even in 10 years. You know, it's going to be like a thing we read about now, which is crazy to think about, you know, because look how many things we don't use from the 80s and 90s anymore, you know. So I read this little post about how this guy got an email from the IP administrator of his like internet company saying he's been using too much internet. And if he's not using it, please hang up the phone. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. He's like, I thought I had unlimited internet. It's like, well, we have other people that need the internet. And when you listen to this and you're just like, yeah, dial-up, back in the day, that was the thing, you know? So if you didn't hang up your phone, like that line was, nobody else could use it, you know? So he posted that on Reddit just to show like what the internet used to be like. You know, it's like, hey, you're using too much internet. Don't do that. So, yeah. So this one right here, personal branding, like influencers, like that's a thing now. You know, and that is something that a lot of people. You have this whole generation that's growing up, and they're just like kids now. Their lives are based around likes and images and like view counts and. I can't tell you how many times I've seen kids in middle school and they're already signed with an agency. And I'm like, you're in 8th grade, what have you done? You play basketball, why are people following you? You know, what have you done? So this is something that's going to become more and more a thing for everybody, because everybody is going to have a Facebook page, everybody's going to have a TikTok page, everybody's going to have all these like YouTube channels. And if you don't, it's like, you're swimming up the stream. You're making it harder for your business, you know. And I can't tell you how many times I've met people who they're trying to start a business, and I'm like, "Are you on TikTok?" "Oh no, I don't need the Chinese looking in my business." I'm like, "Oh my god!" It's like, wow, that was the first thing that came out of their mind, and it was just like the amount of traffic that TikTok does now is just absolutely insane. There's somebody that I follow on LinkedIn. And if I can show you real quick, let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, here it is. I just want you to read this. And this really happened. Okay, so hopefully you can read it, it's not too small. Any surprising things about that, or people who are already on TikTok, you're like, yeah, I know that. You know? Because I can already tell you, like, I even when I show these kinds of stats, and they're just like, I'll never be on TikTok. I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna argue with you. If you don't want the money, you don't want the views, that's totally fine with me. But it is crazy how big TikTok is. So does anybody keep track of like the lawsuit that Google was dealing with the DOJ recently? Okay, so basically like in their deposition they had to basically make the comment that their view count is way under TikTok. Way under. And they label themselves as Grandpa Google. So if you're under 30, you don't use Google to find information. You don't do that. And if you're over 30, you still use Google to find stuff. Because I don't know any 20-year-old or any 15-year-old that uses Google to do their homework with. Because everything now is searched through TikTok. And it is crazy how powerful TikTok has become. Because TikTok is one of those things where everything is personalized to your interests, and it knows that. And because they've done their algorithm so well, like when your For You page comes up, that is heavily curated to your interests. And if you run a TikTok shop, if it shows up in your For You page, that's a perfect match. YouTube, like I said, cannot do that. Google cannot do that. You know, so TikTok is just an amazing platform, you know, and it's taking over. So if you don't have your business on TikTok, you're fighting the current. That's what you're doing, you know. So I just wanted to share that because like, and I would highly recommend like reading her stuff because she keeps up with all these kinds of things and it is just crazy like what is happening. And like I said, I think there was another post. Oh yeah, this one right here where everybody was saying like, you know, creator-led brands will never get to 100 million. And all of a sudden, like Logan Paul's like prime juice or drinks already hit, you know, those numbers. So, yeah, the market is obviously changing quite a bit. And for so many people who want to run their business the hard way, I don't know why. I really don't know why. You know, so. But yeah, just like OpenAI already killed like a whole bunch of startups in broad daylight, and it's just gonna like eliminate like thousands and thousands of jobs, but at the same time it's gonna create new jobs. It's this change ring right now. And the last time in this session, there was an argument that kind of broke out near the end where one guy was in graduate school and he said like, we shouldn't be using AI to write articles, we shouldn't be using that to write books. And the other guy on the other side was also in graduate school. He's like, dude, why would you want to spend 7 hours at the library doing research when I can use OpenAI's tools to do that for me and write my papers? So obviously you can see the shift here. You know, one side doesn't want it, the other side does. You know, and when I talk about how so many people have written so many books using AI, it's just like, okay, well, that was all written by an AI. Why do I want to read that? Well, because you know, in 5-10 years, everything we read will be AI. You know. So, I don't understand the problem, you know, so. But I just wanted to point that out because like, brand influencing is something like almost everybody's gonna be doing. And it's like, if you don't run a YouTube channel or anything like that, yeah, you're doing things the hard way, yeah. So creative design work. I posted this just so you can like see what's available still. But again, I put at the very bottom, like most AI tools will completely disrupt this industry. Because I don't know anybody now who would be like, why would I spend $100 for a graphics artist when I can just use like Midjourney? And I can literally just keep refining the image, you know? Some people will say like, well, you're giving somebody a job. And at the same time I say yes, but as a digital nomad, you need to keep your budget clean, you know? You need to keep things smooth, so. Anybody have comments, things they want to share? Yeah, please, like, go ahead, yeah.
I have artist friends, and like,
yeah.
the way that AI sources things is fucked.
Yeah.
So, yes, there is, and there.
Go ahead, please. I mean, like, I've heard them all already. I've already watched the videos. I've already been with the lawyers. I've already talked. Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
It's really a mess. It's like what's the goal of everything in the end of this? Like at the end of your life, at the end of all of this, like, are you gonna buy AI created art also? Like, is that going to be your thing, or do you want something that's deeper, that's something that another actual person made?
Yeah.
And if anybody can create AI art, why the fuck do I want it on my wall? I
Right,
can
yeah.
do that, why would I give a shit about what you're making over there with that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
So, it's just very interesting, like, this is one thing.
Right.
And having that, like, that's, if you're like trying to create a sticker design, or if you're trying to create something really simple, or a logo, or whatever, that's one thing, but like, actual full-on art, no.
Right, yeah.
I'd rather support somebody that's actually good at it, instead of somebody that can push a button and be like, wow, look, I'm amazing. Like, honey, no, you're not. You can push a button, congratulations.
So have y'all seen
It's
those?
very interesting.
But it is very interesting. Have you seen the new fashion clothing that is like AI created?
Levi's, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can feel the texture in the jacket and the shirt and stuff like that. And it was made by an AI system, and you print out the jacket, and it looks amazing. And it's just like so much texture. You're just like, is that a hallway? Is that a window? Is that a house?
Is it any different?
You know.
I mean, you even have things too where like you reach into those boundaries of like technology and creativity. Like, there's an artist, right, who like does an original work. She like mixes her blood with this poison on this piece of paper and films it, and
Yeah.
then digitizes it into an NFT, and
Right.
you know, is selling what is an original work made by a person, but is now
Blended
you know,
into
now
technology.
digitized into an NFT, and so
Right.
it's not just a polarity between, you know, human-made work and AI, it's certainly human-made work and how it interfaces with technological opportunities.
Absolutely, yeah. And yes, I totally understand that, yeah. And so I know that the shifts that are gonna be coming in the next 2 years, even just the next year in itself is going to be just game changing for a lot of things. Because if 90% of all Fortune 500 companies all have ChatGPT in their systems now, like how much have they already cut the fat in their businesses? They're just like, hey, you know how you used to like view my emails for me because I was lazy? I don't need you anymore. So you can go now, you know? I can't imagine how many conversations that has already happened in businesses, you know? So, and it's just gonna keep doing, you know, more that's gonna happen, you know, so. But this is one industry that is growing by leaps and bounds, because even though we have AI tools, and yes, we're gonna have AI chatbots, you're still gonna have certain things that you're just gonna be like, I need somebody that I can just talk to and just make sure it gets done, you know? And then you're gonna have the other side that's like, but you have, you know, the new vision and voice that you can have with commands with OpenAI and some ChatGPT. It's like, yeah, but until they can start talking like a person, you know, that's the other thing.
They can.
Right, yeah. So after this one, I'm gonna go to something else, and I'm just curious, does anybody know the big announcement that China made 2 weeks ago? Okay, all right. And this was not the talk that happened with Biden. This was like dealing with like OpenAI, AI stuff, and like robotics. No? Okay, great. I want to show you this because if you think what I've been covering already is scary, this should give you a wake-up call if you're sleeping, because I don't have any coffee. So. But I do want to let you know that this one right here, Start Virtual, I found that because I do a lot of like real estate investing, and this guy from Arizona started his own virtual firm. Yes, there you go, that's right, exactly. And so he basically went to the Philippines and started his own like VA company. Because he was just like, I need so much stuff done, and I don't want to be dealing with like the tiny stuff. I just need somebody to just go do that for me. I'll get the deal, they can fill in the gaps. So, but yes, you go on there. If you want to hire or if you want to put a profile up, you can do that as well. But yeah, this is an area that's going to keep growing. So, all right, I'm just going to add this real quick. Here's a little remote humor. All right, I'm sure this has happened to you at least. Yeah. So, yeah. Any comments or move on?
Still happens online.
Yes.
Finish stuff out here.
Yeah.
You're not busy.
That's right, yeah. Alright, so I want to show you, I hope I spelled that right. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. All right. So I'm just going to leave the title right there. So what they're hoping for is that they want to be able to start mass producing humanoid robots. And these are basically just shells. They already know that. They're just shells. And you're going to couple this with AI tools. And you can program them and basically just have your own like iRobot in your house, you know. And so for a cool like 250, 300,000, you can have your own bot. And now you can have somebody cut the grass for you, you know, or cook dinner, or watch your kids, you know, or watch all your shows that you don't have time to watch.
Or can you?
So, I know this sounds crazy, but here's the thing. There's already 2 other robotic companies in the US who are doing the same thing already. And one is based out of like Seattle, and the other one I think is in San Diego. And they themselves have already started mass producing humanoid robots. Because with Amazon doing the whole like robotic digit in their warehouses, this is just going to become a thing. I know they probably, yeah, that's sort of like a general image of what they'll be like. But when I read the reports, when I was going through all this stuff, here's where it got even scarier, was they want to start making sure that the assembly lines are designed to where once they incorporate AI into the building process, they want to have it where the robots are building the robots.
Isn't Tesla, like, aren't they planning on doing that too?
Yes, but their robot doesn't work. You know, so it's not that good.
So basically, pretty soon we'll all just be on vacation.
No. We're going to be in Wall-E. I want to clarify that. We're going to be in Wall-E on our floating beds, drinking tea, watching our Netflix shows.
No.
And with cleaning robots having arguments. Okay? Because that was the warning message, you know, and obviously we didn't get it, you know. So, but yes, when I was reading all this stuff, it was one of those things where like, it's like for them to come out and say like we're gonna just start mass producing this stuff, which obviously like in China everything moves very fast, you know. So for this to happen by 2025 as mass producing humanoid robots, who knows what it's gonna do to the other industry. So you're gonna find robots that are like, no, I'm an artist and I'm making a canvas today. I can argue. All right, fine.
How are they gonna do that? There's a chip shortage and
Oh,
they're being
Chips are
sanctioned.
coming
They
from
can't-
China, that's why there's a chip shortage.
They can't get the computing power that we have. How are they gonna do it?
all right, let me see if I can find it real quick. Hold on. I think.
That's by the way why Sam Altman went to Microsoft, because they have
No,
all the
okay,
computing power.
actually, here's the thing. Do you also know what Sam Altman was doing 2 weeks ago? Okay. I'm trying to find it real quick because it says in this article where he was, because oh man, I'm hoping I can find it. There it is. All right, so that little paragraph right there, read it. Yeah. So he's been spending all his time really in the Middle East, and he was looking for people to create low-powered, like low-cost chips that he can mass produce to do that. And maybe that had to do with why they were not happy with him, but yes. So yes, he's in plans, like he was trying to raise $1 billion from SoftBank to basically create a little AI device that will replace smartphones. So again, our world is changing very fast, you know, so even though we base a lot of the things around our life on a smartphone, if you don't have a smartphone, it's like, how do you do anything? How do you even live? You know, because I meet people and they're just like, you have to have a smartphone, you have to have a laptop, you have to do, you know, otherwise you can't function. You know?
They already have those. They
So-
have this little device that you clip on your jacket,
Yeah.
and then you can read stuff in your
Right, yeah. No, but until we have the floating screens, that's when we're in the future. Okay?
But
Once
you can
we
already see it in your hand.
No, but I need a floating screen like in Futurama. Okay? I need that. Okay? So once my glasses can project a little thing in front of me and I can tap on it and do this and talk to the person and then it disappears, I'll be happy.
That would be like next year.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I mean. It's just like, you know, when you put in AI, it's just like, hey, I want what's in Futurama, build that for me. And they're like, okay, there. It's like, here, go put that in a 3D printer. It's like, you know. So laugh now, I'm just saying. But yeah, I want to point that out because yes, that's where he was spending his time. But the last part right here, like, I'm not gonna get too much into this part because like taxes and this lifestyle.
Why not? That's the juicy part.
It is the juicy part, but it is also like very like, you know, gross because your taxes when you are a nomad are based, because the US is a citizen-based tax country, like where your citizenship resides is where you get taxed. And where you are residing in the US, that's where your taxes are also going to be, you know. But once you go outside the US, then at that point, you need to make sure you know what country's taxes you're dealing with, because don't go there and start making money and you're just like, I want a tourist visa. That's the quickest way to get yourself in trouble, you know. Because yeah. So, you want to say something?
Well, okay, so if you're gonna be a digital nomad, you gotta put yourself, your domicile in a tax-free state, like Texas.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you should probably just move around a lot and go to places where you don't get taxed. So, don't try to stay somewhere for more than 6 months.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, if you want that easy life, like, stay, you know, move around with every 6 months or so. If you deal with your investments, I'll just let you know, like, if you deal, like, a lot of investing, you gotta come back to the US every 6 months anyways, to not deal with those problems. But yeah, it's sort of like one of those things where, like, you can go travel, do things, but, you know, get a tax advisor if you want, and just make sure, like, everything's on the up and up. But yes, it's yeah.
Why did you say you have to come back every 6 months?
So there's a lot of like these like large brokerage firms that have like your residency. If you're gone for a certain period of time, past 6 months, your tax rates change. And when I was talking to like Fidelity and like I was talking to Charles Schwab, and they're just like, do you plan to come back every 6 months at least? And that was their point. They're just like, as long as you come back through customs every 6 months, you don't have any more, you know, tax issues to be dealing with, you know, so. But that was their reason.
If you have your domicile set here, how would they know?
So, yeah, that's the part where like because the U.S. has a partnership with I forgot what it's called. It was basically any transaction you make with your name, if you set up a bank account anywhere, it gets routed back to the US and knows that like, hey, you set this up here, you did this, you used a credit card here, you did all that stuff, you know. It's one of those things where like, somehow it can get traced back to you.
But why would you set up a bank account anywhere else? You just have a couple of
Big-
US bank accounts and a few online bank accounts and.
No, I understand that part, but there are some people out there who do that, you know.
Oh, okay.
And so, however they run their business or their life, they're just like, I need an account in Berlin or in Germany, and I want one in UK, and I'm like, okay, that's your life, you know. That's fine, you know what you're doing, but.
You don't need that because you can get online bank accounts that even do currency exchanges
Yeah.
and all that. You don't need to set up shop anywhere else.
Right. So, but yeah, for a lot of people, you know, some are just like, well, I want it out there elsewhere, you know, but.
Unless you try to become a resident somewhere or a citizen.
Yeah, and if you become a resident elsewhere, you know, there's that rule of just like 330 days outside the US, then your taxes change, and as long as you understand that rule, then yes, you know, then that means your residency has changed for your tax basis, you know, so. But I did want to cover this part right here because I know there was a lot of feedback on this. And getting clients, I'll have y'all kind of go through here, and for those who are already digital nomads, I'm just curious like how you do clients already. Because I always like to hear like how people are doing certain things and how they get, you know, how they run their business. And so if there's anything you see here that you've done before, please, you know, say something if there's something new, or if there's something you're just like, no, that's wrong, you know, so. So who here does all these already? Okay.
I don't know, so well, we only launched our product last week, but we've been building, we do the surveys, they work really well. We do the blogs and the SEO, I have a person that manages that, and then I created just an online community. I host a webinar once a month, and then I focus on travel content creators. And through the webinars on LinkedIn, like they come in, and then I have co-hosts, and then they post it to their crowd, like their audiences, and then it all funnels. It's scaling pretty quickly.
Oh, nice. And you build that mailing list too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I've met a lot of people who they don't focus on mailing lists. They're just like, I'm just trying to get clients. I'm just trying to do that. And I'm like, how are you doing that if you don't have a way to keep engaging them and keep bringing back like repeat for you? So, yeah. Anyone else? Any other comments? Because I know like partnering with other businesses, that helps out a lot too. You know, so whatever it is you do, if you know somebody else that also does sort of like something similar, or you can have sort of like a partnership with that helps them grow their list, then that's a way to like get a bigger network.
Does anyone do SMS marketing?
Does anybody like SMS marketing?
Well, I mean, if you can look at the opening rate of emails versus SMS.
No, I totally get that, because I know like real estate investors, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like they're big on like sending text messages, you know, so. Who here uses a lot of like the LinkedIn stuff versus like, okay, yeah. And what has been your return on that? Like, do you see a lot of engagement?
I'm mostly focusing now on just making the connections. LinkedIn limits you to 100 a week. But I used to work for a lead gen company, so getting the correct connector message and then knowing what the right messages are to send after that. So I've been refining that, and now I have a pretty good like 3-sequence message where I usually get them into one of our other systems.
So I just want to point that out, because I know there's just so much that people are just like, how do I get more clients? How do I do all this kind of things? A lot of times, you know, it's just getting out there, setting things up, because one of the things I keep running into is just like, but I built this amazing website. I don't understand why I'm not getting clients. I'm like, so if you build it, they're gonna come, you know? And that's where people are just like, I don't get that. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. You know, you have to get out there. You have to, you know, let people know you exist. Because I had this one argument with somebody that was just like, they built an app that they were so passionate about, and they're just like, no, you don't understand. As soon as people see this, I don't need to market anymore, because everybody will share it with everybody. And I'm like, so you're telling me that Coca-Cola this whole time has been wasting money on their marketing department because everybody knows Coca-Cola? He's like, yeah, I don't know why they do that. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, it's just like, wow, like, yep, your app's gonna work great. You know, keep doing that. You know, so yeah, you've got to keep people in your mindset, and that's why like YouTube is like doing this whole like, don't use ad blockers now, because you know we're gonna block you if you keep doing that, because we need ads to be running. That's how we run our business, you know. So get out there and like talk to people. When I talk to real estate agents, I'm just like, how did you start your company? How did you get your houses? How did you find your deals? And what do you think their answer is? Because it wasn't sitting behind your laptop. They went door knocking. You know? And when I mention that to a lot of people, it scares the hell out of them. They're just like, that's a lot of work. I was like, yeah, you know what the conversion rate is? I was like, every 100 doors you knock on, maybe 1 or 2 will actually go through. And they're like, that's awful. I was like, yeah, think what you have to do for ads online, you know? Because how many times do you see people spending thousands of dollars on ads, and they're just like, I got 3 clicks. I'm like, welcome to the game, you know? So, yeah. So I just wanted to point out these right here. These are the ones, if you want to know the book talk that's happening by Austin Technology Forum tomorrow, just come up to me and I can find you the link. But they're going to be having a talk on the coming wave. And so I have those, and then I also have these other ones that I'm going to pass around. So if you want to look at these right here. And then then this new book also just came out right here, and this is called The New Automation Mindset. So this is for like AI tools and like projects and stuff like that. So I'll start these over here. But yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it only once a month?
It's once a month, every third Monday.
Okay.
All right.
I'm already off to my next country. So.
That's great. So I'm reading The Future Normal right now, and then that one's basically just like how our new life will be, you know, how things will be operating, what you can expect. And it's important to read this kind of stuff because like you got to prepare for it. Like there's so many things that are happening. In the coming wave, one of the things they cover in that book is not only the wave of like AI tools, but then also synthetic biology. So who here knows about synthetic biology, like the wave that's happening? I wouldn't. Okay.
There's like a lot of things. Are you thinking about like the synthetic womb where they can like grow?
Yeah, it's that
Okay.
kind of stuff, right? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you know, CRISPR, all those kinds of things, gene editing. Who here knows you can like make your own DNA strands? Okay, you do, yes?
Well, like, I've listened to a bunch of podcasts, and I know we're getting to the point where, like, designer babies are coming around, and, like, that whole shebang.
Yeah. But you saw Gattaca, right? You saw Gattaca. Oh yeah. Oh my god. How is that pop? Like I meet so many people that are just like, we're going to this book. I'm like, but Gattaca came out in like 1997. Like, what do you mean you haven't seen that? You know? Because that movie, even today, is so controversial still. They're just like, you shouldn't be doing that to babies. Like in the movie, they're basically like parents sit down. This is a normal world where you sit down and you're just like, what do you want your baby to have? Do you want this color hair? Do you want these color eyes? Do you want this certain height? Do you want this certain IQ? Do you want this certain business? You know, you basically just design your baby. And it shows you this movie in this world of just like the people who were the perfect babies and the people who were the god babies. They were just born normally. And it's just this huge dichotomy of society. And they're just like the designer babies, they all get the good jobs. You know? And the god babies, they take care of the designer babies, you know, and it's still controversial to this day, you know, and even Ethan Hawke is just like, that movie was like a long time ago, it's like people still talk about it, you know, so, but yeah. Did everybody get these? Okay, so this book right here is actually part 2 of the $1 million one-person business. So after the success of that book, she wrote this book after that because.
You see this?
Yeah. So those right there. It still shocks me how many people don't know about that $1 million one-person business book because most of the people they interviewed all came from Austin. And when I was going through that, I started reaching out to a lot of these like people in the book, and I said, "How are you doing now?" I was like, "Well, we've already sold most of our stuff, and now we're doing another one." You know. So Austin is a major hub for these kinds of like solopreneur like businesses, and places like Capital Factory are a hub for that because so many people just don't want to deal with the politics of running a business, you know, because like how many times did you ever work a job where just like you're dealing with office politics and it's so like not fun. It's so depressing, you know. Whereas like if you just run a company and automate it, why not? You know, so that's my info right there. If you want to write it down, if you want to take a picture, but please, like, you know, take pictures of these books, like read them because they will help quite a bit. And I've read all of them already, actually, except the automated mindset one. I just got that one, and running remote, that one's really good. That was actually written right at the time of like COVID. And this team, those guys were based out of Austin, and they're just like, how do we do this? How do we build our teams? You know, so. But yeah, they provide some amazing tools, amazing websites, resources, and what I've started to do is like build out like digital products to sell, where like I collate all this information, and as a sheet, I'm just like, here, you know, you can buy this. Because sometimes like people are just like, what should I be using to do my marketing? What should I be doing for my fulfillment? What should I be doing for this? Because there's so many companies out there that do some incredible stuff. I I will show you another one real quick. Who here listens to this one? Do y'all know this guy? He's on a podcast right here. Okay. So I just wanted to show you this. And the reason why I wanted to bring this one up was because he interviews and goes through, and then he breaks down in like basically like a cheat sheet of like what they covered in the podcast, and I sort of just like pull all the like cool tools that they have out of there. Here it is. So again, simple stuff like this, like so many people sit down and they're just like, hey, I just do Excel and I make templates. So this sounds cool, right? Sounds easy. What do you think the new wave of this is going to become? We just talked about it.
GPT store.
Exactly. Templates, things like that, selling that. You know, there are so many times I've talked to developers and I'm just like, why are you having trouble making $1 million if you're a software engineer? I don't understand the problem. It's like you can go build templates for websites and apps and sell them for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a Shopify store. And this lady right here is doing this just for templates for Excel. You know, because a template for like an app is like what, $20,000, $30,000, and you just hire a developer to fill the guts. You know, so this guy just does like an amazing job interviewing like so many people. Like this one right here. Please don't use Mechanical Turk. It's really bad, but you know, you get an idea of like what people are doing to like make money. There was another guy who was really good at SEO, and he didn't know it. He just thought like this is how you do SEO, and all of a sudden he's just like, I get so much traction. I get so much like website views. And you know what started happening? Real estate agents started reaching out to him. It's like, hey, could you do that for my listing? Can you do that for, like, we'll pay you $10,000, we'll pay you $20,000 to do that for us. And he just thought like SEO was like, this is how you do SEO. He didn't realize he was like the #1 SEO guy in this area. And all of a sudden, like, people were throwing money at him to like sell homes and to get traction. And companies were just like, hey, we have almost no traction, can you do that for our website? And they threw this money, and he built an entire business behind just doing that. And he just found it by mistake, you know, so. But yeah, I mean, like this like sites like this, podcasts like this, they just give you so many interesting ideas. Another one that I saw was like, what that girl talked about. Let me see if I can. Yeah. There was one about how to use like surveys as a marketing tool, like a marketing funnel. Because many times people just think of like surveys just like they're just doing a survey. A lot of companies have turned surveys into huge marketing funnels where it's just like, did you enjoy your experience using our product? And all of a sudden you fill it out. It's like, hey, would you like a follow-up on our review? All of a sudden that's a sales funnel. And then I realized a lot of companies, this is such a free tool that can be made with Google Forms, like Microsoft Forms, SurveyMonkey, things like that. And I'm just, when I listened to the podcast, I was just like, wow, there are so many little simple tools out there that you can use that just like throw your business out there.
Hi, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, sure.
I was just curious, what is this session about?
This is digital nomad lifestyle. Like how to run a solopreneur business using as many tools as possible.
And where do you guys find you guys? Like, are you guys a group online or something?
Yeah, it's on the Capital Factory newsletter.
Perfect.
So yeah. So just look at the like the event listing, and then it's every third Monday of the month.
Every third Monday. Super helpful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
So
thank
hopefully
you so
we'll
much.
see you next time.
And we'll be here for
All right. All right. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. So there's so many like people here. Like I mentioned earlier, was this one guy who was in the military, and he didn't realize he had a skill that was valuable, and he just thought this is how you do the military, and his skill was getting promoted. He was really good at getting promoted. And people kept coming up to him like, how did you do this? How did you do that? How did you get promoted so fast? And he's like, I just did this, this, and this. And they're just like, can I pay you to show me how to do that? And then eventually somebody was just like, can you just put this in a course? And we can sell this. And that's what he started doing, you know? And that turned into his side hustle. And it just took off from there. So you have all these branches of the government that are just like reaching out to this guy. And they're just like, I've been in this one area for like 2 years and they won't promote me. And he just sits down with them, does the whole session. He's just like, here's what you're doing wrong. you know, and that's business, you know, so. And sometimes it's not what you want to do as a business, it's just something you do because you're really good at it. And I've learned that also about people who are just like, I don't want to deal with the taxes and the numbers and the paperwork of running a company. I just want, you know, the enjoyment of helping somebody. You know, so it's like, okay, well, yeah. So I know it's like kind of early, we're like 7:30, but does anybody have feedback, any like comments, questions, things like that? Did it help? Did it not help? You know?
I was just curious, why you're doing this, like, have you traveled, are you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't travel right now because, like, I'm, like, tethered in San Antonio, but, throughout the US, you know, a lot of that, and I built, like, 3 companies, and after that, it was just, like, it became such an automated process for me that that's why I do a lot of, like, business consulting now. It's just, like, I help small businesses that are struggling, they're just, like, why can't I get clients, why can't I get, you know, numbers going, and I just sit down with them and I go over, like, the stuff, and see what I can do to help them. A lot of times, they don't realize there's all these tools that are out there because they're so stressed out with, like, why isn't this working? Like, I meet people who are just like, I put my life savings into this, and if this doesn't work, like, I'm screwed, you know? So, and because I keep up to date with, like, so many things that people are doing, it's just, like, there's so many tools that are out there that are absolutely amazing. Who here follows, let me see if I can show you. This guy right here. Do y'all follow this guy? Okay, so I'll show you some of his topics real quick. So he's gotten in on that one-person business model, and there's so many other, like, creators like him who.
Oh, is this the guy that did that's talking about Bubble recently?
It might have been because I know he did a video on Bubble.
Yeah,
You know, Bubble,
he built apps and all that stuff.
yeah. So he had one of those. But starting my $1 million business strategy, so you can copy it, things like that. All right, absolutely. Okay, yeah. I got to try that too. All right. Yeah. So he goes through and he basically, I think there was another video he made. Where is it?
He started an agency.
Yeah, he did. So this is the one right here. This guy right here, 4 steps to make your first million. And like all the mistakes he made, like what happened, like what he went through, like how many times he failed, how many businesses he started, like all the things he went through to basically like figure out what he was good at. And he was like, I went through like 30 different businesses. He's like, I used to do wedding videos, I used to do wedding photography, I used to do lighting, I used to do camera work, I used to do this. He's like, all these things, and it took him a long time to get to where he was. And he's like, I watched every major YouTuber that was successful out there. And I just sat down and was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And eventually, like, it clicked, you know? And here he is, you know, interviewing like 15-year-olds that are making $500,000 a month, you know? I know you're shaking your head. And I always point this out to teenagers that when I do a course with the teenagers, and they look at the video and they're just like, but isn't that clickbait? I'm like, it's very good you picked up on that, you know? Because that's the design of these videos. It's like maybe 1 month out of their whole business model, they made $500,000. But not consistently, you know. That's the clickbait. So, but he does go through a lot of like this stuff, and sitting down and watching these kinds of videos, especially for like teenagers that I talk to, I'm like, you can learn a lot of different skills doing these kinds of things. Like the Bubble videos, like how to make an app in Bubble. Who here uses Bubble? I'm just curious. No?
I don't have time yet. I
Yeah.
want to, but I haven't had time.
So Bubble is basically just a no-code like environment to build like SaaS products and websites and apps. So if you want to build apps and sell them, Bubble can let you do that.
From what I understand, it has like templates in it, like you can basically build Uber in a week or
Yep, absolutely.
Facebook.
Yeah, you can recreate Instagram, you can do those kinds of things, make it private. I'll show you another one. Do you know this person?
Yeah, she's
Good.
here in Austin.
Oh, yeah, see? There you go. Yeah, so she posts a lot of different things, and one of the things I've noticed about her whole spiel is like making sure she covers how many degrees she has every time she talks. She's like, I got a master's, I got a PhD, you know. So Yeah, so she goes through a lot of those kinds of things, and obviously if somebody goes in and does really nice thumbnails and makes it happen, you know, so who here follows certain people that's where you get your stuff from? I'm just curious.
Sure.
Like, who do you follow?
Well, I mean,
Cody?
I used to be in real estate. So
Okay.
I know about Pace and I know about Jamil and.
Yeah.
I found Cody
Uh-huh.
a couple of years ago.
Right.
But mainly where I've met people that have made big exits and things like that is here in Austin at IMP, Internet Marketing Party.
Right.
That's I believe it's every first Thursday of the month. And I know the guy who runs it. It's a really cool event. You go there and meet people that are actually doing the things in person.
Right, yeah.
And actually make friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met people there that have made, $500 million exits and things like that. Like a couple weeks ago, I met the guy, the CEO of High Level.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one? Is that the one?
That's the one. So
Yeah.
the guy in the middle is David.
Okay.
He's the guy that's been running it for 15 years. If you want to meet some people that are really doing things
Mm-hmm.
and that you can tap in, with their experience, that's the place to be.
Alright. So if anybody wants to take a picture, the next event is not coming up, so.
It'll be the first Thursday of the month.
Okay. Is this their main one, or do they use the Facebook?
I don't know, I've been getting texts from them for a long time, so
Okay.
they have a website.
They have a page on Instagram with the links to the website, you can grab your tickets
Yeah.
there.
Okay, alright.
It's usually like a $60 ticket, but it's a cool venue. They have free drinks, open bar, sponsored by Store 24.
Okay.
And it's a cool venue.
Nice. Alright.
Cody Sanchez has been there. All the
Big
big
players.
people, Frank Kern.
Yeah, okay.
Different.
That's what they figure out.
So like big names.
Okay.
There's some people that got their debut there that are now super big.
Yeah.
It's inspirational to see people that were standing in a corner
Right.
years ago that are now running big companies.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right. Well, I think my laptop is about to die, so I gotta close it. But I know we're kind of early, but I thank you so much for coming. I hope this helped, gave you some ideas. And then again, the next month's topic is gonna be basically running your own business. So I'm gonna have some people come in who will go over a few things, and hopefully, I think that one's gonna be close to Christmas, so I'll see how the turnout is, because most people are just I gotta get home. Yeah. But yeah.
Rolling.
Maybe I'll see you at the party.
I won't be here. I'm moving to Asia. I'll start in Thailand and go every 30 days to a different country for at least a year.
Well, thanks for chatting today.
You said you were in the Philippines, so
Just a month ago, actually a couple weeks ago, for a month.
what was good?
My grandmother
Okay.
passed. She was fine, she was gonna be 102, so it was tough.
Oh, alright, great.
But yeah, I was just bouncing around
So
with my
you decided
mom.
to do this in Austin just because of climate up here in terms of.
So I did it in Austin because.
Appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
I'm
thank you
just
so much.
doing,
I did
some
San
pivoting,
Antonio, Texas.
just to manage
Nobody
area
wanted it.
and
And
trying to
so
get tax and
I
stuff.
already, I remember there, I remember here,
I'm
and
just
they
trying.
never responded, they were called up,
Yeah.
even capital factory in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I came here, there was
Anyway, yeah, I thought that was
that's the
very
community here that's important.
insightful.
And
snippets
so
that
many
you
times,
had
thank you so much for coming, yeah, thank you. And they were just we need to get this on the cover right away, because a lot of the feedback that I got was, from the last time, they want a social aspect to this meetup. And now they just, instead of a classroom stuff, they've like a cafe or something, like, you know, a coffee shop, where people can just like mingle, network, things like that.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for as well, because so many nomads come through Austin, and they want a community to be a part of.
Okay.
You know, so.
Very cool, well, it was great.
Oh, thank you so much, yeah.
Trying to make some more.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
It was kinda all new to me, but,
right?
cause I've been, you know, worked for DOD for 30 years, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Been a civilian, so.
And you went to the DoD event here, right? They had one, like a big DoD event, like last month?
I can't, no, it wasn't that,
Okay.
cause I'm closer to San Antonio.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm in Bulverde, so.
Oh, okay, okay. See, if I had known you last week, there was a huge DoD event last Friday night.
Oh, is that right?
And it was at Capital Factory.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
I came up to one, I think it was the first anniversary of Space Force or something. But there really wasn't hardly any military people at that one, it was mostly like the Firefly people and
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
some of those folks.
Wait, are you talking about Firefly, the sign makers, those signs?
No, the space
Okay,
transport
okay,
rocket
right,
people
okay.
here in Austin, they're out in Cedar Park.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But, no, this was great.
Thank you.
Interesting on the AI stuff, cause I teach at Incarnate Word. So, you know, the universities are trying to deal with, you know,
Yep.
students writing papers and stuff using
So,
chatbots.
yeah, I mean, like, that's one of the things that when I talk to kids, I really have to emphasize, like, you really need to know what you're doing in college, because so many of these AI tools.
Yeah.
What is the point of an English major? What is the
Exactly.
point of a psychology major? What is the point of like, and why would you pay $250,000 for a graduate degree now?
Right. Yeah.
So it's one of these things where talking to them, they're the new generation coming in dealing with this stuff, and I'm like, you're not gonna get an accounting job anymore because you can get an AI chatbot that can analyze it for you and.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, even lawyers.
Yeah.
Did you see the lawyers who went after that AI company because they were gonna bring an AI lawyer into the courtroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scared.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
scared.
But you know, so, you know, when students submit papers, different universities have different tools, but Turnitin
Right.
is a popular one that checks for plagiarism, right?
Right.
Goes out and searches the internet, so they developed a tool within Turnitin to, supposedly be able to identify if something's written. With AI.
Right, okay.
And I had a paper come back 100% AI, right? But you know, unfortunately the kid was failing and wasn't gonna,
Yeah.
it wasn't gonna make a difference anyway, but
Yep.
I really, so I didn't treat it like that. I told him, I said, hey, you know, graded it straight up.
Mhm.
Didn't matter to his grade, cause he was, like I said, he had missed all kinds of assignments and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But, I told him, I said, it came back 100%. He didn't respond or say anything. But one thing I'm doing, cause the university's they're trying to somewhat embrace it a little bit.
Okay.
You know, they still have to do original work, cause
Yeah, of course.
it's a learning process,
Yeah,
right? But like one of the things I'm doing, I'm teaching a business communications course, so, in week 3, I had them generate some communications of different types, for fictitious business. And so this week, week 6, I said, go back and take your assignment from week 3, put it into ChatGPT or another AI tool that you like.
Right.
And see what it generates, and then compare it to the original you wrote. You know, kind of do pros and cons. So from what I can tell, they enjoy that assignment, you know.
Right.
Some of them have used it, and
I will tell you, there was another teacher, when everybody was banning the stuff, this is what he did. He gave them it was a history class, and he gave them a paper that was already written. And he says, you're gonna use a tool to figure out how to fix this.
Right.
And find all the mistakes in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read the material and you did what you were supposed to do, you should already be able to know what the mistakes are in the paper.
Right.
But using the AI tool, I want you to understand how it's identifying the stuff and why. And then you tell me if it's still correct.
Right.
You know?
So mine was a little reverse of that, where it's like, go ahead and have it generated see if there's any mistakes,
Right, yeah.
See how it compares to original, what we can change.
Oh, yeah,